Welcome to the PACUB's Recycling Packaging Innovations webinar. My name is Paul Jenkins, Managing Director of the PACUB. What we're going to cover in the next 45 minutes or so is as follows. 60 seconds on the PACUB and the Innovation Zone. We're then going to split the recyclable packaging innovations into two sections. So the first one, we'll look at specifically recyclable initiatives, and then we're going to look at some recycled content packaging innovations, which have increased significantly for good reason in the last couple of years or so. So I think it's important just to split those two into two sections. We'll then cover details of our next event. Please make sure you get your questions in. You will get a link to this webinar recording post-event via email, and it will be available online to view in full, error-free, at youtube.com/thepacub from tomorrow. So at the PACUB, we're a leading packaging innovation consultancy for services, project management and technical support, events and webinars, packaging reports, and our Innovation Zone packaging database. This is an international packaging platform, searchable and easy to use, nearly 6,000 initiatives, counting. We upload 25 initiatives from around the world each week. We find innovations in about 15 different languages, so a really good way of keeping you up to speed and keeping you one step ahead of your competition and perhaps your boss. These are some of the customers and clients that are currently members. So that's enough about the PACUB. In terms of just putting things into context, I think I do this most times really. We did a global packaging trends compendium as our most recent report, and what we've done is clustered innovations into 9 areas. So that kind of helps us to sort of frame where the trends are coming from and what they're doing. So you'll see the 9th one, which is recycling resurgence, and really that is the focus of today's webinar. So these are some recyclable packaging innovations that we think you need to know. As always, this isn't an endorsement or example of best practice. We think it's important just to reflect what's going on in the market so you can make informed decisions based on your own individual strategic packaging policies. But we've always felt that it's important to reflect the good, the bad, and the ugly of what's going on in the packaging world. But most of these examples, hopefully, you will see as good. So 15 recyclable innovations. A little bit of breaking news. I had a tremendous amount of time to prepare this. It's sort of coming today, really. Some of you may have had a heads up that this might be coming down the line, but this is just for the UK market, and an industry-led consortium has announced just today that they're starting a recycling pilot for flexible plastic household collection in the UK. It's long overdue, and we'll be very interested to track that in due course. And of course, we will be collating any initiatives that come from that in our innovation zone. So I just thought I'd put that slide in the last minute as we're talking about recycling. So let's look at some recyclable packaging innovations. The first one is from Shropshire-based packaging developers Cyrene Group, and they're specialists in absorbency products. And they've announced the launch of EarthPad, a recyclable paper-based absorbent pad. EarthPads are composed of a cellulose-based layer bonded to a paper-based top or bottom layer with a biopolymer coating. The pad is compostable and can also be recycled through the paper stream. EarthPad was developed in conjunction with a UK retailer over a number of years and went into full-scale production at the start of this year. EarthPads are available in any size, shape, or configuration, including slit rolls. They are currently available in white and black with a range of colours coming down the line. Potential areas of use are expected to include obviously fruit, but also seafood and meat. Cyrene says that the easily identifiable as paper, so should go in the paper bin, but if it does end up in landfill, it will eventually decompose. Next up is an initiative from Pulpex, and they've been doing a lot of work on paper-based bottles in recent times. They've been collaborating with various brands in this way. And they've announced the development, not the launch, the development of in collaboration with Kraft Heinz for a paper-based bottle for the latter's world-famous Heinz brand of ketchup. The team up has resulted in just the early exploration of a prototype paper-based bottle. I did post this on LinkedIn and got quite a lot of comment, mainly negative, really, about why we're going down this route. But I personally think it's important that we at least sort of trial and test these kind of technologies to see what how they might actually sort of fit into the scheme of things in terms of sustainability. So this initiative would launch in a paper bottle. Obviously, it's paper, breaking the traditional ketchup bottle packaging rules of transparency. The prototype is just one development in a range of initiatives that Kraft Heinz are working towards for their company goals of making their packaging globally recyclable, reusable, or compostable by 2025. So very much early development, and let's just watch this space to see how that develops. Got challenges around barrier and reducing or taking out plastic as a barrier function there. So let's wait and see. Next up is Berry Global, and they've announced the launch of what it says is one of the first to market recyclable lockup 2cc dispensers, known as the Berry Wave 2cc. It is made from 100% polyethylene with no metal parts, which makes the dispenser recyclable when paired with a PET bottle where appropriate facilities exist, although PET recycling capability is quite good in most places. This has gained a Recycle Class A rating and will be available with up to 70% post-consumer resin, and that will be independently evaluated by the US FDA with no objection letter to be issued. The dispenser is part of Berry's B Circular range, which meets market demands for a more sustainable version of the popular pump format that is widely used for a variety of personal care products, including liquid soaps, body lotions, body milk shampoos, conditioners, and hair treatments. Next up comes from the other side of the world in Australia. So this is Caspac, and they've formed a partnership with Melbourne-based organic butchers Hagens, who will supply the butcher with a modified atmosphere packaging tray made from bamboo. The trays, which are made from FSC certified bamboo, can be recycled in curbside recycling bins after removal of the lidding film and a thin plastic film that can be peeled away from the bamboo tray so that the two materials are easily separated. The film can then be recycled through the REDcycle soft plastic system, so not curbside recycled, but in-store recyclable. The move to a fibre MAP tray has resulted in an 80% total reduction in plastic from 20 grams to 4 grams per meat tray, and will increase the raw material recovery rate to 70%. Next up is Smurfit Kappa, and they've developed what they say is a 100% recyclable, sustainable paper tube packaging solution aimed at the premium spirits and luxury goods market. The Eco Tube is made from, again, FSC keeps coming up. It's made from using only FSC sourced paper and recycled board, making it a cost-effective solution. The robustness of the paper tube packaging is said to offer added perceived value to products in store, combined with a high quality print and an array of print finishes. The Eco Tube is said to create on-shelf disruption, encouraging both first and repeat purchases. I mean, it's interesting to note that Diageo recently announced that they were doing away with a lot of their secondary packaging, display packaging for some of their premium brands. So I wonder if that is a sign of things to come in terms of the various material reduction strategies that we're seeing taking place, but not in this case, because obviously Smurfit Kappa have worked on this particular solution for commercial advantage. Next up is from Sweden, and this is Druven, which is a sauce, vinegar and pasta manufacturer owned by Kavli, and they've announced that their soy sauce brand is to move from its current black plastic bottle to a transparent plastic version. We have tracked, obviously, a few initiatives in this area of coloured PET bottles moving to clear for recycling purposes. And this is another example. And by doing this, obviously, it makes the bottle 100% recyclable, and the brand says that they are that they're committed to delivering sustainable packaging development. And this is just one of the examples of what they're doing. So the goal is by 2025, at the latest, that all the plastic packaging of the DLF member companies in Sweden, all their packaging will be on the market, should be recyclable. And that's really in line with lots of plastic pacts that have been taking place around the world. So we're not just showing physical packaging examples, we're also showing sort of processes and procedures and ways that improves recycling rates, I guess. So this is from Mexico, and this is BioBox, and they're a social responsibility project that seeks to facilitate and promote recycling through collection machines. They have currently 300 machines in circulation, and they have permanent internet connectivity for monitoring purposes. They are equipped with technology to internally identify and separate recyclable solid waste. And more materials are being received. So they started with PET and aluminium, and in recent years have added tin plate straws and coffee pods. At the end of the process, the user generates points to later exchange them for payment of services such as electricity, water, gas, or entertainment such as Netflix and Spotify, or they can receive coupons for products and services for brands that sponsor BioBox. I guess that's quite an interesting way of engaging consumers and incentivizing them, rewarding them in, rather than just a physical token, literally for money. They're offering other ways to generate points to engage consumers. Johnson's Baby has announced that it will be they say is the first for the UK market with the introduction of a recyclable refill carton for its range of baby toiletries. The refill cartons are made predominantly from paper, which is, again, FSC mix certified, material from well-managed sources. The cartons contain a small amount of plastic, around 8 grams per 1 litre pack, representing a significant reduction in plastic use. That's to protect the formula inside and maintain the pack structure. Rather specifically, that every 11,202 packs of refills sold will save exactly 1 tonne of plastic waste. The new Easy Pour cartons will be available across the brand's leading variants: baby shampoo, bedtime bath, and top to toe wash. Prices start at about £4.25 in the UK. And they'll be available across most of the retailers in the UK in due course. It's claimed to be recyclable, or not entirely. They haven't stated how it is recyclable, and whether it is through a TerraCycle type scheme where consumers have to send them off or post them somewhere, or whether somehow the carton is actually curbside paper recyclable. Got 3 examples now of sort of legislation really influencing packaging innovation, and we can't understate how much sort of government policy and laws and changes influence what we all do on a daily basis in our packaging job. So we've got the EU Single-Use Plastic Directive coming into play in July 2024 that requires that caps and lids on beverage containers up to 3 litres remain firmly attached to bottles after opening. So it's anticipated that tether caps will play an important role in preventing litter, as they will remain attached to containers after use. So this one here is from Berrycap's Clipper-side tether caps, and they're one of the available solutions starting to come to market ahead of the directive. But they conducted some consumer research, so it's quite interesting to sort of gauge whether these new caps will be favourably received. The spoiler alert is that they are favourably received. The survey involved consumers aged between 18 and 80, so the vast majority of the adult population that would be using these cartons, and their families. Survey respondents tested the new closures on 1.5 litre mineral water bottles in real life scenarios for a period of a week. The users praised the easy and intuitive handling when opening, closing and drinking, and the perceived hygiene benefits of the closures. Consumers were also pleased that the closure is leak-proof and their ability to withstand being opened and closed multiple times. So there does seem to be some additional consumer benefit over and above the necessity for doing a tethered cap. Another couple of examples. This is through a collaboration with United Caps and Norwegian carton producers, Elopak, and they have released their Pure Twist Flip solution to store shelves imminently. Developed in last year, the Pure Twist Flip was designed so that the cap will remain attached to the carton throughout the entire life of the pack, meaning the chance of it being littered is obviously reduced, as we've already said. So the cap is fully recyclable and made from renewable and sustainably sourced materials. And third of the cap trilogy is from Tetra Pak, and they've launched a cap, as you can see, attached to beverage cartons. The development is obviously all part of the Single-Use Plastic Directive, which comes into force, as mentioned, in a couple of years' time. They've got 5 of these new closure solutions being introduced into the Baltic states, Germany, Ireland, and Spain, across various product categories. Depending on the solution, the company achieves a reduction in the percentage of plastic that ranges between 7% and 15%. They say they expect to sell a staggering 1.5 billion of these caps by the end of 2022. So it's good to see that they're effectively over 2 years ahead of the legislation. HSMG, which is part of Singapore-based Greentech Global, has collaborated with Swedish molded fibre packaging manufacturer Polpak to use the company's plant-based protein technology. The first application, which will utilise the technology, will be Sweden's Max Burgers, which will be used on coffee cup lids. Traditionally, paper-based packaging has a thin layer of plastic added to prevent water and grease from leaking through. Plastic layers can make paper-based packaging difficult to recycle. HSMG's protein technology, however, this uses a thin, stretchable substrate to be applied during the forming process, helping to ensure the recyclability of molded fibre packaging used for applications such as coffee cups and lids. The companies claim that Polpak's dry molded fibre technology is a good fit with HSMG's barrier chemistry solutions. Next up is global packaging manufacturer Amcor, and they've announced the addition of a high shield pharma laminate to its pharmaceutical packaging portfolio. The high shield pharma laminates are recycle-ready materials which meet the high barrier and performance requirements needed for the pharmaceutical industry while complying with the recyclable needs of those pharmaceutical companies. The low carbon high shield innovations features applications for sachets, stick packs, and strip pack packaging, and are available in both paper-based and polyethylene-based materials. A machinery investment is not a requirement, as this new material is compatible with existing filling machines with no efficiency losses for manufacturers and packers. Primepack has announced the launch of a patent-pending PE-based monomaterial film designed for microwave vegetable steaming. The film, known as Proactive Recyclable R2000S, is designed to run on high-speed form fill seal equipment and is pre-qualified for store drop-off recycling. That's important to point out. So a lot of these initiatives aren't curbside recyclable necessarily in all markets, but they require a motivated consumer to drop off the packs for sorting and further recycling down the line. The main technical challenge in developing this solution was said to be engineering a recyclable film that could withstand both cold chain storage and microwave conditions. So Primepack says that after a series of strategic trials, they managed to engineer recyclable lamination with ideal stiffness, excellent toughness at low temperatures, and great graphical qualities that allow consumers to microwave in the pack. Last up in this section, and I think we mentioned this in our last webinar about 3 weeks ago, but I think it's worthy of of mentioning again as a quite differentiated initiative. This is from Huhtamäki, based in Finland, but an international business, and they've announced a first-to-market monomaterial PET lidding solution aimed at the global healthcare industry, developed as a replacement to the industry standard of aluminium lidding. This push-tab blister lid is designed to meet the stringent safety requirements of the highly regulated pharmaceutical and healthcare packaging, and provides the industry with a recyclable alternative to traditional push-through blister packaging. Is a massive market and a big opportunity here. So when combined with Klöckner Pentaplast Next R1 bottom rigid film, it's a solution that's proven to run on existing blister packaging lines without modifications or extra investment required. This new development is said to make a PET-based lid film pushable, so there's a functional advantage here as well, and enables easy access to the tablet for the consumer. So we will watch that roll out with great interest. Okay, end of part one, as they say. We're now going to focus on recyclable content innovation. So these are mostly plastic-based, but we do have some other materials included, paper and aluminium as examples. And as I mentioned at the beginning, really the context behind this is that in the UK, we've had the UK Plastic Pact, and other markets are working towards added recycled content. The UK Plastic Pact, I'm sure everybody knows about that, but that is 30%. There's a taxation on plastic packaging with less than 30% recycled content. Came into effect last month and has had a big impact on the market, because obviously lots of people are working towards achieving 30+ recycled content in their plastic packaging. First up is a 90% PCR rate achieved by a Germany-based Seal, and they're a manufacturer of coated papers, films, and fabrics designed to basically serve the packaging industries. They have announced the launch of what they're claiming to be the first inkjet film based on 90% post-consumer recycled PCR BOPET. It's a transparent face-top film that has been designed for the production of product labels. The front side has a glossy coating for variable information printing with a water-based inkjet, and is suitable for both dye and pigment inks. The film has the same mechanical properties as its non-PCR thing it's replacing, so it's easy to process whilst offering identical benefits in terms of fast drying, high color brilliance, sharp edge prints, and good water resistance. The total weight of this film has also been reduced, which means more labels per roll, and thus higher productivity. Two leading converters have announced the launch of 100% PCR PET. Canada-based paper products and packaging company Cascade is now offering 100% rPET food tray. The design of the tray makes it compatible with packaging equipment already in use by food processors and retailers. The company says that the tray took 3 years to research and develop and design, which allows for minimal use of plastic but maintains rigidity. Whole Earth has announced the launch of what is reported to be the first squeezy peanut butter pack to launch into UK supermarkets. Peanut butter is notoriously difficult to get out of pack, in my humble opinion, as a regular user, but called the Drizzler. It comes in a bottle made from recycled plastic, which can then be recycled again. Thanks to a unique production process, the Whole Earth Drizzler delivers a delicious taste, apparently, with runnier peanut butter texture that's said to be perfect for drizzling. And it'll be available in 2 varieties. Now, I posted out on LinkedIn recently challenging whether the label's the right way around, because I think there's some merit in having the label the other way, so that when a consumer is dispensing the product, the branding is the right way around in terms of what they see. However, on shelf, it may be better presented as you can currently see. So that's maybe a debate for another day. Philadelphia-based Arctic Glacier is a North American provider of premiumized products and services. It is claiming an industry first with the launch of a premiumized, I'm not sure how you have premiumized, but they're claiming they do, packaged in bags made from 51% recycled resin. Arctic Glacier says that this move represents a 46% reduction in global warming potential impacts compared to the industry standard generic polyfilm widely used thus far. The recycled film is said to show no reduction in quality or performance, and by using recycled PE in place of the current virgin product, the brand can avoid the equivalent of more than 2,500 metric tons of CO2 emissions per year, which, believe it or not, is the equivalent of driving one car more than 10 million kilometers. Next up is SABIC, and they're a chemicals company originally based out of Saudi Arabia, and they're working with Portuguese plastic film converter Polivuga. Apologies for my appalling Portuguese pronunciation. They've announced they brought to market what they say is the world's first bag for frozen seafood made from ocean-bound plastic. Now, we're tracking quite a few of these ocean-bound plastic initiatives, and this is obviously one of those examples. So the partnership utilizes SABIC's certified circular polyethylene from feedstock sourced from recovered ocean-bound plastic. SABIC states that even used plastic recovered from in and around ocean feeding waterways has the potential to be converted into a high-quality plastic product for their customers. The ocean-bound plastic is converted using advanced recycling into an alternative feedstock, which SABIC uses to produce certified circular polymers. Packaging has been launched to coincide with World Oceans Day this year. BOTL, a French wine startup, is being presented as an alternative to the traditional wine bottle. We regularly sort of track alternatives to the humble glass wine bottle, and here we have an example from France. It consists of an outer shell made from molded paper pulp derived from recycled newspapers and cardboard. The inner bag is made of a barrier PE and closed with a plastic screw cap, which is also made of PE to aid recycling. It is claimed that the production of these bottles creates 5 times less CO2 than a comparable glass bottle, and it is also 8 times lighter than a glass bottle and keeps the contents colder. Interestingly, they're claiming approximately 30% longer, so a functional advantage there as well. Transport costs are also lower because the bottles are lighter, with up to 3 times the amount of bottles on a truck, but with half the weight. So not everyone is in favour of this type of initiative in terms of moving from glass or plastic into these paper sort of sleeved inner bags. I'll allow you to make up your own mind, but as I say, we're reflecting what is going on in the market. Next up is from Holland. We've got an ethical producer, an egg producer called Kip and Boer Kipster, and they've announced the introduction of egg cartons made from 100% recycled paper. The CO2 released during the production process is compensated, so the boxes can be claimed as CO2 neutral. Now, we are increasingly picking up initiatives that have some sort of carbon neutrality process put upon them, so that brands are able to make a further sustainability claim. So rather than reducing carbon through specific packaging initiatives, they're doing it through sort of offsetting it in that way. So the CO2 footprint of the egg cartons has been calculated according to Greenhouse Gas Protocol and compensates for the emissions via Climate Partner, who are one of several climate carbon sort of offset businesses that offer these kind of services. The egg cartons are available exclusively at Lidl and available as we speak. Next up is AB InBev. regulars to the Innovation Zone, and they've launched a new plastic crate format for the German market. And the German market has a strong returnable element to it, so these kind of crates are very popular in the market. The plastic crates contain 2.2 kilograms of recycled plastic, including waste from the maritime industry, such as fishing lines, nets, and ropes that have reached the end of their useful life. The crates will contain over 90% recycled plastic and have an imperfect look, which they have named the Riptide finish, meaning that no two crates look exactly alike. And I think consumers quite like the idea of that. Conveniently, the sort of imperfect look is in line with the brand values of perfectly imperfect personality. So that works really well. And the project, which was conducted with Dutch crate manufacturer Schuler Alibert and drinks design agency experts Drinkworks, took around 18 months. And the use of recycled material was said to ensure consistent quality in the manufacture of the box, and thus its longevity and structural integrity. Next up, we have L'Occitane, a French natural skincare brand, and they've announced a collaboration with BPI, who specialize in injection molded plastic parts for use in luxury goods. Together, they have developed a new refill tub made from 100% PCR polypropylene. The companies say that the 100% PCR PP reuses fossil resources, thus reducing the use of, obviously, of virgin fossil-based plastics. So it's interesting just to report that, you know, the recycled content that we're tracking isn't just for so-called single-use solutions. It is also in the refillable and reusable market. Polish brewery Kompania Piwowarska, who produced Lech beer, have announced that all of their multi-factoring film will be made out of 100% recycled material. They are sourcing their waste material from breweries, producers of beverages and mineral waters, and producers of glass packaging, as well as retail chains and households. It is then carefully sorted at recycling plants, and the company says that as the energy used to manufacture recycled film is much lower than out of virgin film, using recycled film, they will reduce CO2 emissions by almost half at 47%. Also, by using recycled film, the amount of virgin material used will be reduced by 250 tonnes per annum. Now, this is an interesting move by the brand owner, because a lot of beverage companies, as we know, are moving out of plastic shrink collations into paper-based. So in this case, the brand is sticking to that pack format and changing to a recycled material. Rewater Spring Water has claimed a UK first by launching a 100% PCR aluminium bottle. Aluminium bottles tend to be a high percentage of recycled content, but not very often are they 100%. The water is supplied by Bennington Water, based in Herefordshire, and the aluminium bottle is supplied by Technocap. Until recently, this type of packaging was not being produced due to the fact that there was not really adequate supply of 100% PCR aluminium. I'm still not sure there is still adequate supply, to be honest, but Rewater chose the PCR aluminium bottle because of its reported low carbon footprint and its ability, obviously, to be refilled and reused. To top the bottle, it selected a 28mm aluminium closure that can also be easily recycled across the UK. But the primary objective is to reuse it a number of times. They say that the bottle can be refilled up to 5 to 10 times, and Rewater is available in still and sparkling varieties and sold in retail outlets as well as online. Finnish packaging manufacturer Walkie has announced the launch of Lamabel Recycled, which is a monomaterial PE solution made from recycled sources such as pallet stretch wrap, PE packaging material, and PE film used to bundle bottles, cans, and Tetra bricks. Obviously, when you're not got a food product you don't have any of the sort of food safety challenges of recycled content. So these kind of products have a much freer reign in terms of the recycled content that they use. Lamabel Recycled has been designed for the packaging of toilet paper, paper towels, and other paper towel rolls. Compared to other products on the market that contain usually between 30 and 50% recycled material, this contains up to 70% recycled material and is itself completely recyclable. The demand for packaging material made from recycled plastics has obviously been spurred by a number of different initiatives, as previously mentioned, packaging and plastic waste directives and all sorts of things like that. So, and you know, that's a good example of recycled content coming to market. Okay, 2 or 3 more. This isn't an in-market example. This is more of a development work in progress. So this is researchers from Edinburgh's Heriot-Watt University, and they've been granted funding by the UK government's Innovate UK to develop additives and processing methods that aim to drastically increase the recycled content of plastic bottles. They will be collaborating with University of Strathclyde and Glasgow-based Enviropet for a totally Scottish initiative. They've patented what they say is plug-and-play solution called PET Yield, or PET Yield maybe. This enables the cost-effective inclusion of up to 100% post-consumer rPET to be seamlessly integrated into the new PET bottle production. Plastic drink bottles are difficult to manufacture with recycled PET content due to the high degree of variation in the recycled plastic feedstock. The Heriot-Watt team will study how the PET Yield additives affect PET bottles containing recycled material under laboratory conditions before it is put to the test in a production environment. They hope to be able to exceed 30% recycled material in any PET bottle, which would be a significant long-term benefit and would, I guess, be well received by operators. Right, the penultimate one, I think. This is Pakora, a plastic packaging manufacturer based in Mansfield, and they've announced the launch of caps for milk and dairy bottles that contain a minimum of 30% RHDPE in order, obviously, to comply with the recent UK plastic packaging tax that came into force recently. There were significant challenges, as I'm sure you can imagine, to attain the 30% minimum, as the PCR material used has a different nature compared to virgin material. Pakor's engineering and technical team tested various extrusion nozzle diameters and cutter holder profiles until a solution was found, and trials with up to 40% RHDPE inclusion rates were successful. Pakor states that this development reduces the volume of virgin HDPE used for their closure production by more than 1,000 tonnes per annum and provides estimated carbon footprint savings of 1.3 kilotons of CO2 per year. Okay, last but certainly not least is from Brazil. So this is PepsiCo Brazil in partnering with UBQ, an Israeli clean tech startup company that converts household waste into bio-based thermoplastic composite. Their UBQ branded product is created using 100% unsorted municipal solid waste, including mixed plastics, paper, cardboard, and organics, and is suitable to substitute conventional polymers in various durable applications. More than 739 grams of this mixed waste will be redirected from landfills and looped back into the material as a valuable resource. Part of this mixed waste will contain recycled polypropylene resin and recycled BOPP, a plastic film used in the company's snack packaging. This material will be used in the manufacture of 830 pallets for use in 2 of the company's logistics centres. So pallets have been developed by PepsiCo's partner EcoBox's Embalagens Plásticas, which specialises in solutions focused on sustainability. Okay, so that was a bit of a whistle-stop tour. I'm now going to check the questions. First question is, what is meant by ocean-bound plastics? recovered from waterways that lead to the sea. That is absolutely what it is meant to be. So there's a couple of businesses that specialize in this particular area. Bantam Materials is one. Basically what happens is processes are put into place in various river systems around the world that don't have recycling infrastructures. They employ people from local communities to collect the plastic. Because it hasn't entered the sea, it has more value. It hasn't been eroded by long-term sunshine and sea salt and whatever. So the plastic has a higher value before it enters the sea. It's collected. The local economy benefits from higher wages, and it just stops a small amount of plastic from entering the ocean. So that's what that's all about. Who is a supplier of the 100% shrink film? I'm not sure. I will see if I can find out. Often if we don't state who it is, it's because they haven't declared who it is. We're finding innovations from various different sources. Not everyone declares who their suppliers are. So I will check that. But as I say, because we didn't mention it at the time, it's possible that that isn't known. Some other questions, lots of comments about not hearing me at the beginning, and then comments that you can hear me. I think that is, all right, paper source bottles. I'm gonna have to be strong as I need to that last bit out of the bottle and tap it to get it out. That's a really good statement. I'm not sure it's a question. But I guess one of the sort of the habits, the rituals of ketchup is the getting that last 5 or 10% out, and actually it's really difficult in a PET bottle and a glass bottle. So I'm not sure that solution is going to be any different in a paper bottle, other than you won't be able to see what's left. So I think that's potentially another challenge. Okay, I think that's pretty much all the questions there. So thank you very much for your time. Apologies for the technical challenges. One of these days it will be 100% perfect, but until that time, please, I'm pleased that you are patient with us. We will be back later this month. Our next webinar is scheduled for Thursday, the 23rd of June, 3 p.m. More information in due course. And you can get information on all our webinars and our websites from the homepage. One last thing to mention is that the PACCUP will be attending the Packaging Innovation Show next week in Birmingham. So we are on stand J122. We are going to be very busy because we're also curating 4 forums for the innovation and design stage. So we have a number of really excellent speakers lined up to talk about a range of different subjects. And we're also judging the EcoPack Challenge alongside Jane Beavis, Laura Fernandez and Simon Oxley. So if you are attending this, you are based in the UK or Europe and you are attending the show, please make sure you come and see us. So that's all for today's webinar. I'd like to thank you for your attention and your attendance. And thank you again for supporting the PACCUP and our webinars, and look forward to seeing you either next week face-to-face or at our next webinar next month. Thank you.